when we spoke about having kids, I felt ready to be a dad. When I saw the pregnancy test, I felt that I wasn't ready. It wasn't, I'm so sorry, it seems that the pregnancy has terminated itself. And it wasn't that I didn't care to update anybody. It was just that my priority was Marissa and our immediate family, because all I could think of was, in my mind, we did everything according to the book. We didn't tell anybody, including our parents, for about 3 months. And in my mind, I'm sitting there before she starts the scan, that gun's coming down to her stomach. And I'm thinking to myself, if this goes wrong, then I'm crumbling. Then I'm sorry, then this, and I'm going to be straight with the two of you. And Marissa and I have said it to ourselves, to each other as well. If this goes wrong, that's the end of our marriage. I cannot see how we can pick ourselves up from this.
Hi everybody, welcome to our interview with Riaan Theunissen. And this evening or today, wherever you are, whatever time frame it may be, I'm also joined by my co-host, Patrick.
Hi there, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Patrick and Keegan Show. Today we're with a good friend of ours, Riaan Theunissen. He currently went through 2 miscarriages on his journey to becoming a parent, and he's with us today to kind of share that experience with us. So welcome, Riaan.
How's it, gents? How's it going?
Good.
Riaan, thank you. No, I'm doing well, thank you very much. Again, thank you very much for setting some time aside to be with us today to talk about this difficult topic. Patrick and I have looked forward to this, and we feel that through our conversation, feel free to be emotional about it. I think on my side, as we've shared in the previous pre-interview conversations, it's a bit emotional for me too, because I tend to feel what you feel. And we look forward to hearing a man's perspective, which is often muted in society or social media today, on the difficulties of being a husband, partner, and a man going through these difficulties. So we look forward to hearing what it is you can share with us. And Patrick, take us away, sir.
Sure. So, Riaan, if you could kind of just start from the beginning, I guess. When did this happen? How did this happen? Just walk us through the journey.
Okay, sure. So, my wife and I got married in March of 2021. And then because, well, I was I was basically touching 30 at the time. We were in our late 20s. We decided not to wait too long before we would try to have kids, because we both wanted to. Uh, Obviously debated on the number, but we did want to have kids. So we fell pregnant in the middle of March. I mean, in the middle of the year, and we got recommended a gynecologist. Went through to him. Obviously, it was very exciting. It was the first. I've never ever had any scares or any moments like that before. So we immediately told our parents, both sets, and then we set up a scan. Went to the gynecologist, and he picked up. Oh no, definitely you were about. I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks pregnant at the time or something. Uh, Go get some rest, get some supplements, blah blah blah. Come back for the 10-week scan.
Now, this excitement that you're having, when you guys find out, yeah, we're pregnant, this is what we wanted, this is what we were hoping for. I mean, I can understand and the excitement if I say I'm going to buy a new car, or if we're going to go and buy a PS5, or we're buying a new house, or we've achieved a new goal, or I've achieved something. I've always said it, for my life. The excitement of the news of having a child, which I do not have yet or haven't experienced yet, and Patrick can share with you too, because he himself is a father. Is that different to the, let's say, the normal excitement? Do you feel a sense of heightened anxiety? Is this maybe more calmness? Do you feel like whoever I used to be cannot be there anymore? I need to pull myself more in line? Are you starting to look at all the hazards in the house? Like, take us through this moment. Is there even that moment of a shape shifting, or does it take some time to develop?
Well, initially it was, oh shit. No, no, seriously,
That is
because
fast.
Yeah.
obviously we wanted to, but it was like, okay, well, we'll, it will happen eventually. It won't happen immediately, but we will try. We will actively try. So the initial reaction was, oh wow, okay, fine, okay, cool. This house is too small. How are we gonna get up the stairs? So that's my train of thought. How is she gonna get up the stairs? What if she falls down the stairs on the? Because at the time we were living in the flat, and there was no lift, and we were on the top floor. So it was, how are we gonna get up the stairs? Uh, I personally immediately went into preparation. So okay, we need to get rid of the GTI because it's too loud.
Golf GTI.
Um, yeah, it's too loud. No, she's not going to be able to deal with that noise when baby comes. Then it was, we need to now get to a different place. We need to move to a different place because the stairs and whatever. So even though I was excited, I think it's because of my nature of what we studied and our work environment. So my immediate reaction was, now we need to start planning on what we need to do. So as exciting as it was a lot of plan. It was a lot of immediate in my head planning
But
for
a different
months down the line.
excitement there.
Yeah, completely different. Like when I
Yeah.
buy a car, my planning is, oh, this is what I'm going to do. That what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, shop. For that, it was okay. Now it felt like I needed to get it done right now for nine
Yeah.
months later. Get it done now because then
There we go.
anything can happen. Anything can
Mm,
go wrong with what I thought
mm,
I was a good idea
mm,
to plan. Then at least I have
mm,
9 months to sort it out.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
Not good.
good lead
That's
time.
yeah.
Also, with that preparation,
Exactly.
also with the preparation, did you feel like, okay, I'm ready to be a father? Um, as I don't know, what's the challenges are like, but emotionally, I'm ready for this next chapter in my life.
When we spoke about having kids, I felt ready to be a dad. When I saw the pregnancy test, I felt that I wasn't ready. But
Mm,
it wasn't, and you smiling, I think you probably maybe have an idea
Being there,
what
done
I
that.
mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was the realization of it makes you, it takes a bit of the fantasy of it away.
yeah,
It's now, it's a thing.
mm. Yeah, it's real
it
now,
is there.
you know.
Yes,
It's real
it's
Yeah,
now.
gonna happen. Yeah,
we can't imagine, we can't think about how it's going to be, what
Mm,
we would be, or what we
mm,
would say, are we going to shout from the hilltops or
mm.
mountaintops or whatever it is. It's just there now. And I think it's very important too that you just say that, there's no time for us to decide, right, I'm going to work on, and when I say us, I mean us as men, husbands, partners, um, protectors, providers. There's no time for, okay, I'm going to work my way to that moment. When you, as you said, when you heard the news, you're ready because this is my duty, this is my
Mm.
responsibility. And yeah, no, look, maybe one day I'll get to that point if God allows, so be it. You guys are sharing that wonderful moment together as fathers. Not yet for me, but maybe. You never know what happens. I mean, we've often joked about it in the past, but you never know what
Yeah.
happens. um so now you guys have the news, and you say you share this with your parents, you share it with her parents. What's the excitement like? And also, is there nervousness from her side? Or are you having to calm her down? How does this go down? How do you break the news to the parents?
So it was, we came home on the day we came home after work. She said, listen, it hasn't arrived. Susan hasn't arrived. We should probably take a test. We go buy the test and whatever. And that in itself was weird because even though you married and it's just like I felt like I needed to show my ring the whole time. No, 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 we buying the test. Um,
I'm over 18. I'm good.
no, this was a consensual thing. Um, and we sent pictures of the tests to her parents and my parents, and then we decided while we were sending the pictures we were just going to shoot through to them quickly. So because her mom lives closer, we sent the picture to her mom first and then shot through to her mom. And while we were at her mom, just before we left, I sent the picture through to my mom and then we shot through to her. So it was unbelievable excitement. Obviously it was emotional. Marissa was bomb happy. Her mom was bomb happy as well, but there's reasons that we won't go into for that. For her mom being extremely happy, my parents were as well. Um, you guys know my parents very well. They were never like they kry nie kinders in die eerste maand nie of they,
Yeah.
you know, jy moet eers gaan werk. And
They're old
obviously,
school. They're a bit conservative,
yeah,
shall we say?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
qualified at that time. So I was a little bit. I knew they'd be excited. I knew they'd be really happy about it. But I was thinking of Belinda saying, "Well, jy nie 'n bietjie wag nie." You know, I
Shout out
was I was
optimists.
thinking maybe yeah, maybe she'd say something like that.
Mm.
But no, they were ecstatic,
Mm.
unbelievably ecstatic.
Excuse me.
No, fine.
And now you have this build up, if everything. Oh, sorry, Patrick, did I interrupt you there? Were you gonna?
Oh no, I was gonna say, can you hear that? Because that was my little one, but it's fine.
That's yeah.
No, love, no. Babies today are welcome for sure. And in this time now, so obviously the excitement is there, and you're sharing the news with the important people, the right people, and you mentioned earlier, taking supplements or just making sure everything goes right, and not to cut the excitement of the episode down or the feel good moments. But now we get to that critical point which Patrick mentioned before, and the first of them.
Mm.
You're now still with the excitement, and I'm assuming this was a checkup that you went to,
Yes,
a routine
yes.
checkup,
Hmm.
and what were your first thoughts now that the doctor says to you, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Theunissen, I'm sorry, you know, there's no heartbeat, there's nothing, or you see on the screen that there isn't anything. What is your first feeling? Do you get angry? Do you want to blame someone? Do you want to blame yourself? How do you deal with this news on the offset?
Firstly, and we can't blame gynecologists for this, but because they have to detach themselves from emotion. It wasn't, I'm so sorry, it seems that the pregnancy has terminated itself. It was more along the lines of, oh, no, it stopped growing, it aborted. And then you're like, what? And then again, so he was like, no, 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 the fetus stopped growing. So well, I'm afraid that this is the terminated pregnancy. So my first reaction was, and I'm sorry, like I said, I want to move this bra. Why would you just say it like that?
Yeah, that
Um,
is
I,
a bit harsh way to
I,
say.
I,
Yeah,
yeah, I can understand you need to detach yourself from emotion because you see this every day, but I don't see this every day.
yeah,
So there was a lot of anger, and then again, because the three of us, we know how we studied and so on. I needed scientific answers. I was like, okay, so tell me, why did it happen? And if you don't know why it happened, can we find out why it happened, please? Because I'd like to not go through this again. Funny enough. And the guy said to us, look, I mean, this was quiet the entire time. She didn't say anything, and I knew what was coming. I knew she was trying to compose herself, just until we at least got away. So I asked him, what can we do to find out why? And the gynecologist said to us, no, look, it happens all the time at 50-50. It's always a 50-50 thing. Is look, we can go for tests, but it's not really going to be worth it because the next when you do it again, when you try again, it shouldn't happen again. It'll be fine. It'll be 50-50 again, but usually it only happens once. So don't worry about it. And the entire time, like I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, this is not what we want to hear. So
yeah,
um, I need to know why. And she's still dealing with the fact that it happened and you saying, oh, it's not a big thing, it happens.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, is this Riaan? Sorry, is this still within the first trimester, or
Yes, this is
are
at
we further
10
along?
weeks. This is
10
at 10
weeks.
weeks.
10 weeks. Well,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, yeah. No,
So, yeah. So we left. Well, we walked out, we left, and we got in the car, and the sister at the hospital nearby, and she just burst out crying. Understandable. or I said to her, "Look, babe, um, I don't have the right words for you right now. It did happen to us. Um, it's something that we will never forget, but we'll get through it. It'll be. It's not gonna be okay now, and I can't say anything to make it better, but I'm here."
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
I took it to her mom. I took it to my mom, and I had no idea what to do with myself, so I went back to work. I got to work. My boss comes in. He's very excited. He's like, "So, how did it go?" And I'm like, mm-mm. So his first thing is, "Why the hell did you come back to work?"
Mm.
So I said, "My guy, I don't know what else to do. I haven't processed it yet, so I don't know what else to do. I figured I'd just come and continue with my work to sort of pass the time." So he's like, "No, my
Yeah.
friend, go home.
Mm.
Go to your
I
wife.
guess,
Go
yeah.
home."
In those moments of, dealing with sad news, unexpectedly, especially, you don't really. And I guess some people would ask, maybe those who are listening and those who are watching may think, well, why would you just leave your wife who also just got this bad news? And
Mm.
my only views, I could say, well, one, I could ask you what happened in you, or what your train of thought was, but I could assume that it's that you're trying to deal with it also. And then, as you said before, there's nothing you can say that can make it better. There's no amount of whatever you do that could bring back your lost child. So there's a way that you also know, above all things, as cold as it sounds, but the show must go on. You know, it's
I'm
yeah.
Yeah. I'm a very I don't deal well with emotion or people being emotional around me, and I take a while to process things. So my train of thought was when I took it to her mom. What I thought was, you in your safe space now. You, her mom is a rock. Um, I can't explain how important her mom is to me. So I felt, I won't say redundant, but I felt like she was in the place where she needed to be for her
Yeah. To
emotional and
process things.
mental state. And bear in mind, okay, we dated for a very long time, but we had never, we haven't lived with each other that long at that point. We weren't married for long at that point, and I don't think we established that level of reliance on each other yet.
Mm.
So for me, her being by her mom was the best place for it to be, and I didn't want to interfere with what emotions the two of them needed to get out.
Yeah.
So that's why. And look, in hindsight, sitting here now, it was a stupid thing to do. I shouldn't have gone back to work. I should have just phoned my boss and said, "Listen, I'll see you tomorrow," or something,
Well, I
which
mean,
would have
you
been
can
fine.
sit. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can sit back and say now it was a stupid thing to do because those emotions have passed. But at the time, you can only do the best that you can do. You can
Mm,
only think the way you could have thought, and that was to
Yeah.
get go to your space, do what you need to do. You believed she was fine, and so you went to deal with what you needed to deal with.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, speaking on that also, I always thought me and Rian was a bit differently emotional. But I also recognize that if shit hits the fan this side of the world, I go through something bad happens to me, I kind of go into my cave. So then I detach myself from my wife in a, uh, in a yeah, kind of emotional way. I don't speak to her about the problem, whatever it is. I need to process it myself. And then when I'm ready, I'll come to you and then we can talk about it. But until then,
Yeah,
just, yeah, don't touch me kind
yeah,
of thing.
because
So
you don't
yeah,
have
I
the
get
words
that.
for it yet.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Mm,
yeah, adversity is a funny thing. I tell you, it's difficult, and
mm,
everyone deals in a different way. And hindsight is always a perfect science. You can say, "Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that." But it's difficult and different when you're in the moment. And
mm-hmm.
you spoke about it earlier, Rian, about you when you first found out, and you were just happy to share that news. Now you've got to share this bad news. Where everyone, the whole family was excited. Um, you know, you take it to her parents. I'm assuming her parents were the first to find out because you took her there. How do you tell your own parents? You know, what does Uncle
So,
Frank
so
say to you? What does Auntie B say to
yeah.
you when you break this news down to them?
So I get into the car. I connect for legal purposes. I connect to the Bluetooth of the car, and I phone my mom.
Good man.
Good answer.
Yeah.
And the first she answers the phone, she's, "Hi, how's my baby?" And I'm like, "No, mom, um, uh, it didn't happen." And she's like, "What do you mean?" So I explained to her, and she's like, "Ah." So I say, "Look," the first thing she says is, "How's Marissa?" Because my mom, like us, I suppose, shares that idea of jy moet eers dan even kyk, you can deal with your stuff later. So the first thing you ask is, "How's Marissa?" I say, "She's okay. She's by her mom. I dropped her off by her mom now. She's fine." Um, and then she's like, "And are you okay?" So I say to her, and she knows me already. So I said, "Look, I don't know yet. I haven't thought about it. I haven't given it much thought yet. I've I done what I needed to do that side, and I'm going to take some time." I didn't say I was going back to work. I said I'm going to take some time. I'm going for a drive now, and I'll let you know later how I'm feeling. My dad wasn't at home at the time. I think he was in Paul or something for work. So, and we don't have, my dad and I don't have that kind of relationship where I phone and say, "Listen, I'm not feeling too liquor." That's my mom and I. My dad will pitch in if he's there, but he's not my first port of call. That's my mom.
I think a
Okay.
lot of us are like that, mothers
I
Hmm.
and
guess so.
sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us are like
When
that.
in doubt, call mom.
Yeah, and then they've
Hmm.
also got that sixth sense, like, oh, I got to phone my child or something. It just
Hmm.
feels weird, and she phones you like, oh, what's
Yeah.
happening? And you're like, you phone at the night time, and you start
Yep.
speaking. So it's yeah. I guess there's a lot of men out there who can also agree. And maybe there are some who, daughters and mothers, but I think predominantly there's a big thing about, being the mama's boy. And
Yep.
yeah, no, I'm not going to lie, I'm proud to be a mama's boy. And
I
I
am.
look forward to the opportunity that I can take care of her for as long as I can.
Hmm.
The, Pastor,
Yeah.
what do you have up next, brother? Because I've got a few,
Oh,
but
sure. No, I just wanted to ask. Okay, so this just happened. You contacted your parents. You let them know what's happening. How was the conversations like with your friends and stuff like that? Because they also want to know. But obviously, your first priority is your wife, your family. How does it then seep into your friend circles?
So I don't know if I told you, did I tell you guys about the first one?
not me.
Did I tell
You
you guys
did, yeah.
immediately? I did.
I
I think,
can't recall.
I think I just went quiet about it for a while, if I remember correctly, with you guys. And it wasn't that I didn't care to update anybody. It was just that
Mm,
my priority was Marissa and our immediate family. And I
mm,
felt like you guys would understand when
mm,
when I do eventually fill you in about what
mm.
happened.
Apologies, sorry, Rian. It was the first one that yes, you did inform the first one
Mm,
to all of us. I remember you
Yeah.
speaking about the
mm,
fact about going to work and your boss asking you exactly,
mm,
why you're still here. I think it was the
mm,
second one that I wasn't aware of, but
mm.
understandably so. Um, then also,
Also,
yeah.
oh no,
No, you
no.
go
What
back.
was the mood like for the next few weeks? I guess did you try to avoid each
Um,
other?
no, surprisingly not. We tried to speak about it. We tried to what we decided to do was to get away, just the two of us. So we booked ourselves into a hotel in Sea Point somewhere just for the night, and we went away. And that helped. We got to sit and just talk to each other, and then it was okay afterwards. It wasn't like before, but it was all right.
Mm,
It was as good as it could be at the time.
mm.
Yeah.
I'm assuming now that again, you say you don't have the right words because nothing you say will ever make it better. But as you're saying now, you go away and the mood is a little bit lighter
Mm,
because you are together. You're now wanting to build through the situation. I think now
mm,
it's at the time that most probably you were saying words that you could now, because you see what she's feeling, because she's opening up to you now. You now have the right words. Um,
mm.
I'm assuming it's still difficult though. Do you take that time to give hope, or did you just take that time to listen and wait until the point where you could bring hope back again into the relationship to say, okay, now we can try again?
because of the person that Marissa needs, not needs, she support structure is very important to her, and she likes, or she appreciates if somebody listens. I suppose all of us do. So in the beginning, all I did was I listened. If she wasn't ready to speak about anything, I didn't push it. I would obviously we'd ask each other every day, "Are you okay?" Yeah, no, it was a tough day today. You know, the hope or the it's going to be okay, babe, only probably really happened a month or month and a half later. Um, we sort of we I think both of us just sort of buried ourselves into work and um working on our marriage and I suppose learning to live with each other. That when we did speak about the event, it was just us filling each other in on how we're feeling at that point in time, and the other one not really responding.
Gosh. Yeah, man, I sit and I listen to you speaking about it, and I'm just thinking to myself, if I was in your shoes, what do you do? What do I say? Um, yeah, I guess I can't say anything. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's something to take in. One thing I know that I hate is not to be able to help, not to be able to
Mm,
give that structure and say, I guess for all three of us, there's that point that when we have people who we care for, there's no point where we wouldn't give everything to change that for the better, to help and build.
yep,
And I mean, even if we have to pay to make things better, we will find a way to make that be paid.
yep,
And I think at that
yep,
moment, I don't know what I would do if I knew that no matter what I tried, it would be insufficient. Yeah.
yep.
So look
Yeah.
again, great credit to you for going through this and
Mm,
coming on the show, and Marissa, wifey, saying that it's great you can come and share this news with us or the story with us. And for all of those who are listening and those who are watching, we hope that what Riaan is sharing with us today, it resonates with you, and that maybe it recalls certain moments for you in your own relationships too. And feel free to share in the comment section about what you guys did too. And if you shared these same moments that Riaan is sharing with us now with your own partners, and what it is you guys had to do or believed, or that would help one another, you as a partnership and a marriage, to stay together and believe that there's still hope, that although we lost at this point, there will be more opportunities. And we look forward to hearing what that is. Pat.
mm.
Have you? Oh no, good one there. Question is, yeah, have you ever, or could you finally, could you possibly find the reason why, or have you tried to find the reason why the first didn't work out?
No, I think we were very naive at that stage, and we sort of believed that okay, it happened. It was the first time that it happened, so nobody really thought it would happen again. Everybody was like, look, it's unfortunate. And then I had a cousin, one of my cousin's wives said, look, I had a miscarriage. So it was like, okay, it happened. It probably won't happen again. There's a good chance it won't happen. So we didn't really,
Okay.
we listened to the gynecologist, and like I said, we were naive, so we didn't really
And
question after a while.
And I'd like to touch on that discussion later about introduce or bringing the family part into your story, right? Into the support structure, really. But what I do want to ask is and we've touched on this in our pre-interview, was that same time you're going through all of this, and for those who don't know Riaan personally, as Patrick and I do, he has a younger sister. And during this time also, there's some more good news that is shared through with the family, that she now becomes pregnant and she has a child. And, maybe without trying, or maybe easier than, you guys had hoped. But you now go past the one which you've unfortunately lost. And now there's this good news again that, there's a child, but it's now coming from your younger sister. How are you feeling about this? what do you say to Marissa to say, listen, don't focus on the situation? Do you find out at a much later stage? Is your sister trying to keep the information from you, knowing what you're dealing through, going with? How do you get through this?
So my sister and I are really close. Um, I was probably the second or the third person she told. She I picked her up one morning. She asked me to pick her up and take her to the shop or something one morning. She's like, "Dude, I'm pregnant." Just like straight out. I was like, "Shit." Okay, cool. Um, look. There's a backstory to that. We won't get into that because again, that's not my story. It's not my story to share. But I was pissed. I was absolutely gutted. I didn't tell Marissa. How the hell? How could I tell her? Because all I could think of was, in my mind, we did everything according to the book.
Yeah.
And now the book's getting slapped in our face. So why the hell did we put so much effort in doing it according to the book? If you were just going, that was my anger towards, let's say, religion. Why did I do things correctly? Only for you to be like, nah, bruh, it's fine. I'll just take that away from you. When Marissa did eventually find out, she didn't want to see Tan. She didn't want to see it. She didn't want to hear anything about it. She just, I don't care.
So, do you both distance yourselves from her, or are you still there as her older brother? To still give her happiness, to still give support, to still, or yeah, and I mean, it's clearly a tricky situation. What was clearly
Mm.
a tricky situation. Was there part of
I had
you
a
that wanted to say, "Fuck this," this is bullshit, to her face or to whoever, to whatever, or were you always like, listen, I'm going to calm myself down. I'm going to swallow my pride for our situation, but I'm going to be here for my sister still.
I said to her, again, we have a very, very good relationship. So I said to her, we were chatting, and I said, look, I'm not happy. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time because I'm going to take some time and not long. Give me a week, give me 2 weeks, give me 3 weeks. It won't be long. Let me process this so that I can be a good uncle to my niece or nephew. We didn't know at the time. I don't want you or your kid to suffer because of how I feel. So please just afford me some time to process so that I can support you the way that we want to support you. But you have to give us that time because right now I can't be happy. You need to understand that I cannot be happy for you right now. And obviously, she was very apprehensive about that in the start because it was like, look, why can't you? And I can understand that. I mean, it's an exciting time for them. Um, but she did eventually understand that, look, she doesn't know what we're going through. So she did give some time. And it took a lot longer than I thought. For me, it didn't take too long. She'll remain my sister. I will climb into the pits of hell for my sister. So it didn't take too long. But as a household, as a family that I'm responsible for, it did take long. And you cannot blame anybody for it taking long. But
No,
then
and
you
that's
have
understandable.
to,
And
yeah, you
no, I
have
think
to
that's
cover it.
also a mature thing for you to kind of realize in yourself also, like, this is too painful in me. This is myself away from it. And then back in, obviously, let me figure out, how to deal with it, then get back to my sister. A lot of people I know, especially in the color communities, they don't deal with that kind of trauma. They just let it out onto other people. Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to say anything that would harm all of our relationships going forward. At the end of the day, you still need that. You still want that support structure around you. I mean, Tanya can be as hard ass as she wants to. Eventually she'll say, no, I do still need my brother. And it's the
Yeah.
same for me. So I didn't want to say anything. And it would have been my fault if I didn't remove myself from the situation and give myself some time, or give our household some time to come to terms with what had happened. And I mean, it gets worse than that.
No, I'm sure it does. No, but I mean, that's good that you also see down the road, like, no, this is a
Mm,
bad thing. Let me, pull over first and sort out myself.
mm.
I think this was also during the time when I think Mariella also got pregnant. And she wanted to share the news with you guys. And I'm like, no, I think it's a bit too soon. Let them, let them first process this stuff before we just, I mean, because obviously she had obviously the right intentions with it, but I'm like, no, this is still too raw for them, still too soon for them. So yeah, give it some time.
Look, we did appreciate that, but we also, what happens when people do that is you start feeling like a lass as
Yeah,
well. So there's a limit to, like, again, I say we did appreciate that, but then you start thinking also, yeah, maybe we should just get our act together because everybody's now tiptoeing around us, and
yeah,
you don't want to feel like you're an inconvenience to somebody either, especially people you care about.
Yeah, especially that day, because then you sort of you get to that point where perhaps you are acting too selfishly, you know.
Mm.
yeah.
Now, at the same time, obviously, this news comes out of your sister. You guys are dealing with this situation. Your parents speak to you. Does your dad say something to you? Does your mother say something to you at this point? Is where she says, "Don't give up hope. Just keep this out of your mind." This, is. Do you even hear what they will listen to? What they're saying? Is it just words from anybody?
At that time, the words was needed. It was encouraging. My mom and my dad did say, "Listen, it happened. Both these things have now happened to you and your sister. Um, it is up to you to determine how this plays out. You are the older sibling. You should have, and we believe that you have more sense. You are more mature. So it is up to you how the situation plays out. You can deal with it how you want to. We won't get upset with you for whichever way you want to deal with it. But the outcome of it is determined by how you deal with it. And yes, we did get the encouragement of it will be okay, and we definitely got that.
Um, you
But
mentioned
of
before. Sorry, Adrian. You mentioned before that your cousins who opened up about the loss in their family too at dying. And in our pre-interview, you mentioned to us that once that was spoken about and made aware to others, you found a new sense of support for
yes,
you and your wife to have and people to speak to. And it's funny that during adversity or bad times, sad times, difficulties, they can bring people together. Is this the same thing for your family now? Do you guys bind or become even stronger during this time?
Marissa definitely got closer to my cousins than she was before because there was something else that they had in common that they could share with each other at family gatherings and so on. And my cousin's wife was very forthcoming with regards to how she felt when she went through with Marissa. So it was Marissa sort of reacting and going, "Oh, okay, so I wasn't out of my mind when I thought what I thought. I wasn't going crazy, or I wasn't being unreasonable for thinking or feeling or saying certain things." So yes, they did get closer, and I mean, even today, the two of them do find time to talk to each other, and they live far. I mean,
Mm,
they're not even they're not. It's not like they're a 5 minute drive from us,
mm,
so we don't see them as
mm,
often.
mm.
But it definitely did. Out of that horrible thing that happened, there was at least a small little bit of good.
Was there any support systems or resources that you could kind of find for yourself as a male? Because I know most carriages, they always focus on the woman, but was there anything for the husbands or the partners?
I'm sure there was. I didn't explore the avenues. Um, Somebody did speak to me about, maybe you should go see somebody. And my reaction to that was, I know I'm fine. No worry, that's cool. As long as everybody else, as long as Marissa's is cool, I'm cool. You don't need to worry about it. I'll deal
And
with it. It's not, I've processed it.
yeah, and that's a great question from Patrick, which I just want to add on to that. What is that monologue? Because there's two faces now. There's the face Rian, the husband, the
Mm,
support, and then there's you when there's nobody
mm.
watching. And now you need to process on yourself too. What is that monologue? What are you saying to yourself? What gives you, where do you find strength to still hold the fort and to keep that relationship strong and to keep it going and to keep that hope? What do you say to yourself that you cannot say to her, that you cannot say to your parents, that you cannot say to your friends, but that's important, that keeps you believing this is your path and you just need to go through it?
I'm going to be honest with you. After the first one, I said I processed it, but I think I was just in denial. I told myself I was okay. And that the sooner, you see, that's the funny thing about life or about us as people. You don't want something until something's taken away from you. Then you really want it. So my angle after event number one was, I'm fine. It's cool. We'll do this again, and then I will have my kid. And now I want one. Now I really want one. Like before we got married, when we spoke about it, we said, no, maybe we'll wait like 2 or 3 years, get financially ready, blah 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 blah.
If it
Now
happens,
I
it
wanted
happens.
one. Yeah. Now I'm like, I want one tomorrow.
Mm,
I don't care. So that after the first miscarriage, it was more denial than dealing with, and that's why I think that's also why the second one hit as hard as it did.
mm. Yeah, because you got to, as I said earlier, the show's got to go on. And we cannot,
Mm,
as men, just stand there and allow our emotions to take control of us, because we still have a role and a responsibility that we need to fulfill.
mm,
No matter what
mm,
it is that comes our way, we need to stand there. And perhaps that's not a lot of, or a big topic that a lot of people speak about, the roles of what we
mm,
need to do. And I think in society today, as I mentioned in our previous episode, it's certainly becoming more skewed in the traditional sense of what we, or when we grew up, and the importance of certain values and roles that we need to do and fulfill. And perhaps that is a discussion again for another time. And Patrick and I will maybe make our own podcast discussion
mm.
about it, our own interview, sorry, about that. But it is very difficult for us to share light or shed light on, what we need to go through. Because a lot of the time, people just expect, or the narrative is always the expectation that men just have to be strong enough. We just have to do this. We just have to say that. We just have to go here. We just have to be that. And it's, yes, easy to say. But until you go through it, like you have, and the experience that Patrick also now is a father, gone and shared those moments too. Until you go through these absolute experiences, do you know what it's really like? And it's
Mhm.
difficult for men to reach out and say, listen, I need help. And
Yep.
yeah, man, but it's, and this is why I think it's important, why when Patrick said we need to do this, I agreed immediately, because we need to shed light. And we aren't doctors, we aren't professors in this type of topic, but I mean, if
Not
it's
even
even
close.
at, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
if even at our level, if we feel the need that someone needs to speak more about this, then that in itself paints a picture.